The billionaire's jet was dead. His best mechanics failed, diagnostics screamed lies, and millions were at stake. Then a homeless girl in rags stepped forward, laughed at, mocked, ignored. But when she touched the engine, everything changed. And what happened next left the entire hangar in shock. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments, what time is it and where are you watching from? Let's start. The hangar was restless. Mechanics in blue coveralls crowded around the billionaire's sleek private jet, its exposed engine lifeless. Tools clattered, scanners beeped, but the turbine refused to respond. 3 hours wasted, Donovan's voice thundered. His polished shoes clicked as he paced, fury radiating from his every move. 3 hours, and you experts can't even start a machine I paid $40 million for? The men lowered their heads. One mumbled about faulty readings, another about checking sensors again. Donovan slammed his fist onto a metal table, sending a socket wrench bouncing. Spare me your excuses. If this plane isn't ready tonight, my entire deal in Zurich collapses. Do you understand? Billions on the line. No one dared answer. Far back, almost invisible, a girl pushed a broom across the cold floor. Her dress, a faded brown thing clinging to her thin frame, hung in tatters. Her bare feet were red from the chill. No one paid her attention. She was just the cleaner the foreman had pitied earlier that morning. She hadn't come here by chance. Her name was Eliza. At 16, she had been a scholarship student at a technical college. While other girls her age dreamed of music or fashion, she spent her nights poring over thick manuals on engines. Her father, a mechanic at a small aviation workshop, had encouraged her. "Engines are honest," he used to say. "They don't lie to you. If you listen carefully, they'll tell you exactly what's wrong." Eliza had listened. She had spent countless evenings crouched beside him, handing him tools, learning the smell of burnt fuel, the vibration of healthy turbines, the precise feel of a bolt tightened just right. By 18, she could identify a problem faster than most apprentices twice her age. But then life unraveled. Her father fell ill. Hospital bills mounted. She dropped out of college to care for him, working odd jobs in garages. When he died, debt collectors came. Within months, she had nothing. No home, no family, no future. Just the clothes on her back and an old pair of gloves her father once wore. That was 2 years ago. Now she survived by cleaning hangars, begging foremen for scraps of work, trading sweat for food. She kept her head down because people only saw the dirt, not the skill beneath it. But tonight, as Donovan's fury shook the hangar, something stirred inside her. She heard the failed start of the engine, the sputter, the uneven cough, the way the turbine whined before cutting out. To the mechanics, it was a mystery buried under layers of diagnostics. To her, it was unmistakable. A jammed actuator starving the fuel line? She recognized it the same way a musician recognizes a wrong note. Her broom slowed. Her heart pounded. She told herself to stay quiet. These men wouldn't listen. Donovan wouldn't believe her. But as the shouting grew louder, as she watched the men who mocked her sweep sweat from their brows, something snapped. She wasn't just a cleaner. She wasn't just a beggar. She knew engines, and this was her chance to prove it. Her throat went dry. She gripped the broom handle tight, and then, before she could stop herself, she spoke. "If you permit—" Her voice cracked, but carried across the hangar, every head turned toward her. "I will fix it?" The broom slipped from her hands and hit the floor with a hollow clatter. The hangar froze. Men stared, blinking in disbelief. Donovan's pacing stopped mid-step. Then the laughter came, cruel, sharp, bouncing off steel walls. "You?" one mechanic jeered, wiping his oily hands on a rag. "What do you think this is, a bicycle chain?" Another chuckled, pointing at her bare feet. "She doesn't even own shoes, and she's going to fix a billionaire's jet?" Donovan's gaze swept over her like a blade, sharp and cutting. He took in the torn dress, the dirt on her face, the trembling in her hands. "Who let her in here?" he barked. The foreman shifted uneasily. She begged for work, sir. Just sweeping, nothing more. I didn't think—" "You didn't think is right." Donovan spat. Then his eyes snapped back to Eliza. "And you? Do you even know what you're looking at?" Her pulse hammered, but she steadied her voice. "Yes, it's the actuator in the fuel control unit. It's jammed. That's why it won't ignite." The laughter faltered. The mechanics glanced at one another, unsettled. That was too specific to be a guess. Donovan narrowed his eyes. And how would a girl in rags know that? She drew a shaky breath. "Because I studied them. I worked on them. Before—" Her voice wavered, but she forced herself to continue. "Before life stripped everything from me." The stocky mechanic sneered. "You're lying. You think reading a manual once makes you an engineer? Get out before you embarrass yourself further." But she didn't step back. She raised her chin, her voice stronger now. "I'm not lying. Engines don't lie either, and I can fix yours if you let me." A stunned silence followed. Donovan's face was unreadable, his fury tempered by a spark of curiosity. The foreman opened his mouth as if to intervene, but Donovan silenced him with a raised hand. "You really think," he said slowly, his voice dripping with contempt, "that you, a girl who can't even afford soap, can fix what trained men couldn't?" Eliza's hands trembled at her sides, but her eyes locked on his. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, "Yes, because I've been underestimated my whole life, and I won't be silent any more." The hangar buzzed with tension after Eliza's bold declaration. Donovan's men stood in disbelief, their faces a mix of anger and mockery. The billionaire himself paced once, then stopped cold, his sharp eyes pinning her where she stood. "You claim you can fix it," he said, his voice dripping with disdain. "Fine. Prove to me you know what's wrong." Her heart pounded. She drew in a shaky breath. "It isn't the ignition sensor, like your diagnostics keep saying." "That sputter," she gestured toward the silent turbine, "that's not electronics, it's mechanical. The actuator lever in the fuel control unit has warped under heat expansion. It's choking the fuel flow." The hangar erupted with scoffs. One mechanic barked out a laugh. "That's nonsense. We've replaced the sensors twice already." Another waved a hand dismissively. "The system flagged ignition error codes. It's a software fault, not mechanical." Eliza's eyes flared with determination. "Your computer doesn't smell the burn. It doesn't hear the cough. It doesn't know the feel of a warped lever, but I do." A hush fell. The men stared at her like she'd slapped them. Donovan tilted his head, studying her. "You're saying all my men missed a simple lever?" Her voice steadied. "Not simple. Hidden. The actuator sits deep. Behind the panel, no one checked because they trusted the software. The sensors can't read it when it sticks, so the computer spits false codes. They'll keep chasing wires and chips, but the real fault is mechanical, and I can fix it." The foreman stepped forward, shaking his head. "Sir, with respect, this is madness. She'll make it worse," but Donovan cut him off. Worse than useless. Stand back. Gasps rippled through the hangar. The mechanics exchanged angry glances, but none dared challenge their employer. Eliza's fingers trembled as she pulled her father's cracked gloves from her pocket. She slid them on, whispering a silent prayer. Then she climbed the ladder toward the engine. The massive turbine loomed over her, silent but alive with memory. She laid her palm against the casing, feeling its warmth. Engines don't lie, her father's voice echoed in her mind. Listen to them. The men whispered cruelly from below. She'll strip the bolts. Watch her break the panel. She doesn't know what she's doing. Donovan's voice cracked through the noise. 5 minutes, no more? Eliza exhaled slowly. She loosened the clamps, her hand steady. With a wrench, she pried open the small access panel. The stale scent of scorched fuel wafted out, confirming her suspicion. Her chest tightened. She was right. She slid her hand inside, fingers brushing metal until she found it. The actuator lever, warped, stuck at an angle, choking the fuel flow. She adjusted the shaft carefully, her gloves scraping against the housing. Sweat dripped down her face, but her motions were precise. She nudged the lever back into place, realigned the fuel line, then tightened the warped coupling her father had once warned was the weak spot of older turbines. It wasn't just repair. It was instinct, memory, and courage in one motion. At last, she pulled her hand free. Her arms shook, her lungs burned, but she forced her voice steady. Try it now. The head mechanic muttered angrily, This is absurd. Do it, Donovan roared. He strode to the control panel himself. Without hesitation, he flipped the switch. For a split second, nothing. Then the turbine coughed, sputtered exactly as before. The men smirked, but before they could speak, the sound deepened. The sputter smoothed into a steady rhythm, a thunderous roar filling the hangar. The blade spun faster and faster until the engine howled with perfect strength. The concrete floor vibrated, the air shook. The impossible had happened. Gasps broke out. One mechanic stumbled back. Another covered his face in shame. The same men who mocked her stood frozen silence by the proof roaring in front of them. Eliza gripped the railing, tears burning her eyes. She had done it. Against every insult, every sneer, she had listened to the engine, and it had spoken to her alone. Donovan stood stiff, his jaw tight, his eyes locked on her. For the first time that day, he didn't look furious. He looked humbled. He stepped toward her, his voice low but heavy. Who are you? She climbed down the ladder slowly, sweat and grease streaking her face. Her voice cracked, but she spoke with pride. No one. Just a girl who remembers what her father taught her. The mechanics avoided her eyes, shame written in their silence. The stocky man who'd mocked her whispered, almost broken, she was right. Donovan closed the distance, his gaze sharp, but no longer cruel. You saved me billions today, and you did what trained men couldn't. That doesn't make you no one. She blinked at him, unsure. I don't want pity or charity. I only wanted a chance to prove myself. His jaw tightened. Then he extended his hand. Then you'll have it. From today, you work for me, not as a cleaner, as an engineer. If you can keep this jet alive, you can keep my fleet alive. Her breath caught. For so long, doors had slammed in her face. Now, one finally opened. Slowly, she placed her calloused hand in his. The hangar remained silent, except for the powerful hum of the engine behind them, a machine reborn, echoing her triumph. The men bowed their heads, pride shattered, and Donovan's voice cut through the air. Let this be a lesson. Skill doesn't wear a uniform. Respect it, wherever you find it. Eliza stood taller, her father's gloves heavy on her hands, but her heart light. She was no longer invisible, no longer just a homeless girl. She was the one who had done the impossible. Would you have trusted her? Comment below with your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like if this story moved you, and subscribe now for more powerful, true-to-life stories